All right, welcome back. Options Hero, Lesson 1. The first video is a little bit of introduction about myself, why I love options, why you too will also love options, how to be right 95% of the time, why options are so, one of the reasons why options are so great is again because big hedge funds can't be involved in the things you can be involved in. High frequency traders can't be involved in the things that you're involved with. And that's one of the reasons why you don't really hear about options a lot, don't really know about them. So lesson 1 is an introduction to options. So we will get to some of those kick-ass strategies that I have mentioned in the previous video. But you need to know just a little bit about options, just not a ton. They're not overly complicated. You just need to know a little bit about options before you can really move forward and take what you've learned here and go out there and absolutely crush it. Not only to make you money, but also significantly, so that 3 times, reduce your risk overnight. So let's get into it. So what is an option, first of all? Well, it's a contract, right? It's a contract, and in most cases, it's a contract that represents 100 shares of stock. So if you're trading options on futures, one option is going to be worth one future contract, but most of the time that doesn't happen. Most of the time we never do that. None of my students actually trade options on futures. But options of stock are a contract to buy or sell 100 shares of stock at a given point in time that is predetermined ahead of time when the contract is actually created, when the two parties go ahead and buy and sell the option together. So why do people use options, right? So the first two, to hedge their positions, they use options for speculation, and they also use options for risk management, right? So that's what if you ever read books on options or see TV shows or read articles, that's mostly what you'll hear in terms of options. That's what people are doing. That is not in any way, shape, or form what I do or what I teach or what you will be doing. You'll be doing kind of the second half of this bullet point, which is improve your cost basis, which is giving yourself better than 50-50 chance of making money, and also improving your odds of success. So forget the financial jargon. Forget the Wall Street sayings and slang of like hedging and speculation and risk management. That's all completely hot garbage. It is hot garbage. It's crap. It doesn't mean anything. It's literally just a big word. But the big thing for us is improving our cost basis and continuously improving our odds of success, right? The better our odds of success, not only the more money we're going to make, but the more winners we're going to have compared to losers. So that's really like the big thing in options. And they're not complicated at all. In fact, in the next like 45 minutes from this video and the next one, you're going to learn like everything you need to know about options and what data points are given by these online brokerages in terms of these options that you're just going to need to follow. It's not going to be a ton. And remember, what you learn here, you're going to be able to use the rest of your life to not only make money, but significantly overnight reduce your risk in a big way. So there's some differences, obviously, between options and stock, right? So the first one is options are significantly cheaper than stock. An option is a synthetic stock position, right? They're pretty much the same thing, except no one really knows that. So again, options are synthetic stock positions, right? You can if you buy 100 shares of stock, you can get 100 shares worth, of synthetic stock via options for way cheaper. Way cheaper. There's no point in laying out 15 grand for 100 shares of stock if you think it's going up when you can lay out $250 for the same thing. There's no point in doing that, right? So that's one difference between options and stock, right? So the second thing is, and we talked about this a lot in lesson 0, but video 1, how buying stock or selling stock outright is a 50-50 bet. Mathematically speaking, it can go up a penny or down a penny a stock. That makes it a 50-50 bet. That has no bearing on the magnitude of the move. If Apple is trading for $150 a share, there's a 50% chance it's going to 151 cents, and there's a 50% chance it goes to 149.99. Pure math speaking. Again, I understand there are times when you think stocks go up every day, like Amazon and all that stuff, but for every Amazon, there's ones that go the other way. Buying stock or selling stock outright is 50-50 to go up or down one penny. And then when it goes up or down that penny, it's 50-50 to go from that spot up or down another penny, right? With options, you get to define your probabilities. If you are one of those people, by the way, I was one of these people before I started investing, so don't get worried if you're one of these people. But if you're one of those people that don't like to lose money, options are so great because you can say, I'd like to be right 9 times out of 10, or 95 times out of 100, or 99 times out of 100. You can go ahead and do that. Now, you're not going to make as much money. However, you will be able to be right 95% of the time. Imagine that. Think about that for a second. You buy and sell stock, you're 50-50. That pretty much means half the time you're going to have winners, half the time you're going to have losers. But there are options, strategies, which we're going to get into here. Don't worry about it, everyone. We're going to get into where you get to define that. If you want to be right 95 times out of 100, you certainly can. That's a big difference between options and stock, right? With options, there's a greater risk for returning your capital. Let's go back to that Apple example that I've been using over and over and over again. To buy 100 shares of Apple at $150 a share, it's 15 grand. In a cash account, $7,500 in a margin account. It could be 250 bucks with options, right? So if Apple goes up $15 a share, you made, let's see, you made you made times 100, so you made $1,500 on the stock. If you have a margin account or a cash account in terms of stock, right? So you made $15 a share times 100, $1,500. But if you make $1,500 on 250, your return on capital is far more than 100. It's like 8 times your money. So again, that's another difference of options versus stock. Again, this is the big one. Risk can be significantly reduced with options. It cannot be reduced with stock. You always have the same stock position, right? It always has the same value. You can't reduce your risk with stock alone. It does not happen. Diversification is not a tool to actually reduce risk of any singular stock positions, right? Diversification can like do some things that are kind of crap to your portfolio, but stock outright cannot reduce your risk of a position. Only options can, right? Now, a big difference between options and stock: options expire, stock doesn't, right? Unless a stock gets acquired or goes bankrupt, you can always trade the stock, right? Options expire at a predetermined date and time. So when you execute an options trade, right, and you buy or sell a contract, that contract is expiring at a certain date, right? That doesn't happen with stock. That only happens with options, right? And again, options, and I talked about this in the first video, but options lose value every single day, no matter what. Stocks may not. Options, no matter what, have value removed from them every single day. So there are definitely some big differences between options and stocks. Hold on a second, I gotta drink some water. All right, I'm back. So a couple of things to kind of go over here for a second, right? ATM, ITM, OTM. At the money. This is a term to talk about the options that are closest to the current price of the stock, right? So now on my screen, here is my Thinkorswim platform by TD Ameritrade. I use Thinkorswim because it is the only online brokerage software. You can download it. It's a desktop application. They do have a web app, but the desktop application is a lot better. This is the only platform that was actually made by people who have placed trades. Schwab, E-Trade, Fidelity, those platforms were not created by people who actually have made a trade. Thinkorswim did. Thinkorswim was consequently bought by TD Ameritrade, so it's Thinkorswim by TD Ameritrade now. But Thinkorswim was created by people who actually trade. Most people in this industry don't actually do that. The creators of this were ex-floor traders, money managers. So the information they added here is all the information they need to be able to make money. Again, as you can see, here's this platform. We're looking at the options change for SPY, which is the S&P 500 Index ETF. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Obviously, those pro traders traded a lot of options too. So at the money, right now, the current price of SPY is $246.91. So the at the money strikes are the strikes that are closest to the current price of the stock, right? So as you can see as I'm scrolling, we have the strike column of all the different strikes. So all the way from 120, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, blah, 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 blah. Now we kind of get to a little bit of split here. So 246.91, the at the money strike will be the 247 put, right? So the puts are on the right side here, and we'll get to that in just in a couple minutes. The 247 put and the 247 call. Those are considered at the money, right? Nice and simple. The next thing we're going to look at is in the money. So in the money is a little bit different than at the money because it's different whether it's a call or a put, right? For a call, an in the money option is an option where the strike of the option is below the current the current price of the stock, right? So right now with SPY trading at 246.91, in the money calls are those whose strike prices again are below the price of the stock. So anything from 246 and a half and down is an in the money call. So this 246 and a half call is in the money. This 246 call is in the money. This 247 call is in the money. That's an example of a in the money call, right? In the money put is the exact opposite of that. An in the money put, where the price of the option in the money put is above the current price of the stock. So we see here 247 and a half put is an in the money put. A 248 put is in the money. 249 put is in the money. That's an in the money put, right? Now, the third thing we're going to look at here is out of the money, right? So it's the complete opposite, right? An out of the money call, like the 249 call, says the strike price is above the current price of the stock, right? So 246.91 call, a 248 strike price is above that, meaning its call is out of the money, right? A 250 call is out of the money, right? On the other side, on the put side, an out of the money put is where the strike price of the put is below the current price of the stock. So we see here I'm hovering over the 244 put. 244 is below the current price of the stock, which again is pretty close to 247, making the 244 put out of the money, right? And those are just kind of some technical terms that you need to know, because when we get into these probabilities and some of these strategies, you're just going to need to know those. So again, pretty straightforward, pretty simple. So call options. What is a call option, right? A call option, if we buy a call option, so let's kind of go through an example here, right? If we buy the 248 call option, right, and we're going to pay about 122 for that, or $1.22 per 100 shares, so that's $122, right? If we're talking about a call option, if we buy a call option, we are hoping and we will make money if the price of the call is in the money when it expires. Remember, I said options, unlike stock, always expire. These options that we're looking at right here expire on the 18th of August, or the third Friday in August, which is 19 days from today, if the 248 strike is in the money. Remember, in the money, which means on the call side, the price of the stock is above the strike price, we will make money, right? So that is buying a call and how we're looking to profit from it. Now, on the other side, the complete opposite, if we were to sell the 248 call, we would be hoping that the 248 call remains out of the money when this option expires. So what is an out of the money call? It's one where the current price of the stock is below the strike price. So if we sell an out of the money call, we will make money if the price of the call is above the price of the stock at expiration, This way, it will continue to be out of the money and we will make our money there. Now, that's on the call side, right? So the next slide is looking at the put side, right? And again, you just need to know these because when we talk about some of these strategies, we're just going to be using some of these terms. It's not a big deal. This is pretty straightforward. Watch this video a few times if you need to. Now, puts. When we buy a put, let's say we buy the 246 put here, right? We are hoping that the price of the stock is below the price of the strike come expiration, right? That is what we look for when we buy a put. So we're hoping that 246 becomes in the money at expiration so that the price of the stock is below the 246 strike. So you're seeing similarities. When we buy an option, we want the strike to be in the money at expiration. Excuse me. And if we were to sell a put, let's get out of this and let's sell a put. If we sell a put, we want the put to be out of the money come expiration, which means selling this 246 put, we would prefer, and we will make money when the price of the stock is above that strike price come expiration. So again, same thing as selling in a call, we would like the option, the put in this case, to be out of the money come expiration. So those are just kind of some terms that we need to know. Again, out of the money, in the money, at the money, all that stuff. There's some big differences there. There's going to be one more lesson here where we're teaching you some stuff, some pointers to look at. But this is already half of the information you need to know about options has already been given to you. So I would suggest if you're like, oh, what's going on? Like, there's got to be more. First of all, there's not more. So don't worry about that. And the second thing is, this is a lot simpler than you think. This is a lot simpler than you think. So I will see you on the next episode.